So we've pre-flied our aeroplane. She's ready for the sky. I'm going to go through climbing in and kind of typically what I would do to get ready to go flying. So again, climbing in the aeroplane is real easy. You just step up, it's not high. And then climbing in is real easy. You just literally step in and slide down. There's nothing more to it. Having switched on the ephesus, they've now fired up. They're ready to go. And I'll stick the ignition key in and leave it off for now. So obviously the seat is at the moment adjusted good for me, but it's a very nice system. The seat is very cleverly designed, unlike a lot of the other aircraft. Most aircraft have a flat longitudinal rail, which means as you go backwards, your seat stays at the same height. This, very cleverly worked out by Mike, is very clever. The seat is actually on an incline like this, so which makes sense because as you have a taller person, as you go back, their torso goes down. So I'm going to show you the adjustment. It's real easy. I'm going to go all the way forward. So I'm there. Just by pulling the lever in front, as I go back, you'll see I actually go down too. So that's quite a lot. It's approximately that much seat adjustment. Okay, so quick walk through this from left to right. We've got our lane switches here, which are like mag switches. When you switch those on, the computer actually checks the lanes. So that runs through a special check, 5 seconds, and that's done. You've got your start switch here, which is the key. Here you've got to open and close for the new ventilation system, which when you close that off and you switch on the heater, it puts coolant through a heat exchanger behind the dash here, and it brings out nice warm air. And it's got a feed going through to the passengers at the back as well, and they've got a little vent there that brings out warm or cool air at the back. Yeah, and then basically your switches along here, you've got your ECU backup, your 2 electric fuel pumps, your master, your backup for your ephesus, your 3 ephesus, avionics, prop, autopilot, and then all your lighting there in a nice row. So it's nice. This particular panel is nicely organized, all your lights in a row there. Then you've got your which you'll see on the other videos, you've got your prop controller. This has got 3 settings for takeoff, takeoff, climb, and cruise, and a hold, which we'll explain just now. But basically you've got auto and manual there, which is a short switch over, and then you can use this switch to go course, which we're actually going there now, and fine there, and that's telling me it's adjusting, and that's telling me it's arrived at fully fine. If I go fully course, it tells me I'm adjusting to fully course, so you can actually see the propeller moving there, and when it gets to full course, it's flashing and saying it's fully course. The hold position is interesting in that if you adjust it in flight to hold, you would have been on cruise, you go to hold, it'll stay at 5,000 RPM, and then in this position, without moving that to auto, you just take this switch and you finally adjust whatever you want to have. If you want to up or down your pitch, or course, or fine your pitch, and then in that flight, if you go back to hold, it'll remember. So if you go back to cruise, it'll go to 5,000, and if you'd set it to say 5,200 feet in the last time you're on hold, when you go there, it'll go back to that. So that's a pilot programmable position, hold. And of course, feather will only feather the prop once the engine is stopped below a certain RPM. So if you lose the engine and you want to have a good glide, you just hold that and it'll feather the prop. And then moving over, starting from the top, the very impressive Garmin G5, which just now when you shut down the panel will show that runs. It's got its own power source, own ARs. So if you lose everything, basically you'll be able to fly the aeroplane on that. A very powerful little instrument. And then you've got the Garmin Gtn 650, which is a great Navcom radio. It's incredibly powerful and has got everything. You can do all your instrument flight management on that instrument. Autopilot, which of course everything's linked up. A great autopilot, wonderful servos, makes this airplane fly really smoothly. Down here you've got your flap, which is a rotary switch for the flap. That's your up and your 3 positions. Then you've got your heater, which you can adjust your amount of heater you want. That just basically opens and closes the valve to your heat exchanger. And then you got your fan, which you can blow, and you'll feel right now it's blowing beautifully. And then straightforward, you got your heated pitot tube here. Now this is unusual on this one. This is the transfer pumps for the 2 fuel tanks you can transfer with that. And down here you've got a set of 4 valves that you can manage to transfer from any outer tank to any inner tank. So it's a very safe, reliable system, easy to manage. Basic pipe, circuit breakers along here, nice to easily see, none of them are sticking out. And then you have the G3X and ELT and another auxiliary power unit, and again your ventilation control there. And that really is the panel. Of course, we don't forget about the parachute. We keep a small cable tie on here just so that someone doesn't accidentally bump it. But you need to pull this a couple of inches with 15 pounds, so it's not going to be easy to pull that by mistake. And then the very nice fuel valve. This is a fuel valve is off position right and left tank, and the reason we don't have both, like everyone says, why don't you have a feed that comes from both? And the reason for that is with a Rotax engine you have a return system. So this is actually a duplex valve that manages the feed from the tank and the return to the tank on the same tank. So you're using fuel out of one tank and returning to the same tank. A very important thing for correct fuel management. And then on the stick here, you've got, this is a very basic stick. This is press to torque in front there. You've got your trim, nose down, nose up trim, and autopilot disconnect, as well as control wheel steering there. And on this particular stick we don't have any function connected to that, but normally we'd have a replay function or one of the many functions Garmin offers with their audio panel. This is your brake, which again on the Sling is very nice. You've got a steerable nose gear, so you don't need to have independent brakes in the pedals. It works very nicely. You can see here you won't be braking if your throttle's on, so once you close throttle and you're taxiing along, the brake works very nicely. In an emergency you can really pull it hard and it'll slow you down nicely without having to have independent braking. And throttle, again, the beauty of the FADEC system there, single lever control, that's it. And not like the old 914 with a gate, nice and simple. And you've got your park brake here, which very effectively works. You just pull the brake on and you stick that on and you've got a nice park brake. So ready to go fly. I'll put the flaps up and I'll close the door and I'll put on my headset. Nice headset hooks here. We've put them out of the way. They're right there out of the way. When you're ready to go fly, just grab them, stick them on, and prop clear.